Zach Sang and the gang right now in the studio. The one, the only, the legendary, almost legendary in my mind.
Oh,
Yeah.
thank you.
Iggy Azalea, hello.
Hi, hey.
You look so beautiful today.
You really do.
Oh, I do.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Does your necklace say Young Azalea or?
Yeah, it does. My boyfriend gave this to me maybe a year ago when we went on our first vacation. It's his last name and my last name.
Very nice. How's that relationship been?
It's been a great relationship.
Yeah, how's that been going for you?
Yeah, going good. Yeah, he's good. He's great.
But I feel like
have lunch later.
Very nice. Have you seen your relationship, grow closer and closer, not only due to how long you guys have been together, but because you guys have gone through a lot of stuff together?
Yeah, we have, especially this year.
Yeah.
It's only February.
I know. I thought that earlier. I was like, why am I off to such a bad start?
No.
Let me tell you what a bad start I got off to for 2015. First of
Tell
all,
me.
I woke up and I was robbed
Oh,
while I was asleep.
What?
In my hotel room.
What did they take from you?
They actually took my boyfriend's money that he won at blackjack, which was maybe like $4,000, and his wallet, which they then dumped in a woman's bathroom downstairs. So
What?
that was good in Las Vegas. So that I just woke up to a bad 2015,
Oh.
but it's making its way around now in February. But yeah, it was. I just think I had an unlucky start. I don't know what happened.
Is it hard to get into a funk like that? Because that kind of I feel like that's a funk that you get into. That's like waking up on the wrong side of the bed.
It's true. It is. It's an easy funk to get into and a hard one to get out of, I think. Yeah.
But you're doing it with this single, man.
Thank you.
Seriously.
Yeah.
Good.
It's hard, I think, when you have the momentum of having single after single after single, especially when you have a new album. And then this will be the last single from this album that I've just done. So it's weird to be at the end of that kind of run and have it all slow down. You're like, wait a minute. Why do I have free time? What am I doing? But no, it's cool. I love this single. I'm glad that we're finishing with this song with Jennifer because it was so much fun to perform it with her at the Clive Davis party. And I'm just super excited to get to do it more with her.
An amazing single. You and Jennifer
Thanks,
Hudson, Trouble.
Yep.
And let's be real. You really are, and I'm going to say this, and you can take it as you wish, but I'm going to be honest with you. You're a genius.
Thanks.
And I feel like
I tell my boyfriend that every day.
Yeah, see?
and
Should be your ringtone.
If only he would believe that.
And I feel like that came through with this single. And Jennifer Hudson has come out and said, you wrote the screenplay for the music video. You directed the music video.
I did.
And let's be real. You had one hell of a 2014.
I did.
You took the world by storm.
Thank you.
And I'm going to speak from someone who monitors the media, obviously, talks about it every day. You don't get nearly enough respect, Iggy Azalea.
Thank you.
Because the hard work that you put in, the sacrifices that you make to get your art and your craft out there, and everything that comes along with it, I feel like in every interview you've done in the past, nobody respects it at all.
I agree. They just want to talk about if I had a penis or not.
Exactly.
You don't. You're a lady.
Oh my
Seriously?
You're a
god.
fine lady.
Thank you.
I got so pissed when I was watching some of the interviews yesterday. I was interested because you don't do many.
Yeah, no, I don't. That's why.
Yeah.
And
And now the more you know.
Iggy, I got it because if that was me, why in the world would I put myself out there literally to sit behind a setup just like this to get ridiculed and not appreciated? Because
That's true.
when you're working on that album,
And then have them be like, why won't you come back?
Yeah. Like a bunch of dudes mean mugging you.
I wonder why.
Okay, yeah.
Do you feel like honestly that you don't get enough respect from the hip hop community? Because that's where you were doing Hot 97, you were doing all of the hip hop radio stations. Do they not give you the respect you deserve?
It's a weird. No, I think ultimately they don't. But I think it's very frustrating for me with them because I'll have personal relationships with them outside of the media that people maybe don't understand or realize how deep that goes. Sure. And so then I find it particularly personally offensive when they'll kind of, I think, oftentimes take on the general opinion of others or the viewership to try to get clicks and things like that I'll kind of be like, finding this pretty unrespectable right now.
Yeah.
Which, you don't text my phone.
No.
Yeah.
Okay. But it's fine. It's fine. Hip hop is tough. It's a tough world out there for rappers.
Is it a game that you still want to play moving forward?
That game? No. That's why I don't do interviews.
Yeah.
I'm not playing that game.
Because you know what? You're above it.
Yeah, you don't
in
need
every
Thank
sense of
you.
the word.
Yeah, I think it's a game I just don't think I see now I don't have to play it. It doesn't really benefit
No.
me. It only kind of helps to put out misinformation or things that just aren't really helpful to me or people understanding my character or who I am or my art. And so I feel it's not, there are times when sometimes I think it's necessary to play the game or to do things or have conversations or answer questions you might not want to answer to get something that you might need.
Yeah.
And then it comes to a point where you don't really need to do that
No.
anymore.
So much. We got
Which
it.
is where I'm at now.
Yeah, because here's the deal. You're at a place which I like to call a nice sweet spot.
Yeah, I'm in the sweet spot.
You have found your crowd. You have found where you belong. We
Yeah.
embrace you with open arms.
Thank you.
I appreciate what music is, not from a commercial standpoint, from an art standpoint, just because
Yeah.
I have a lot of friends who are in the industry making music, people you've worked with. Ariana's a good friend of mine, and I know she goes through the online thing in her own way.
She does.
You know?
She goes through the diva thing.
Yeah. That's what they chose for her.
They did. You've got to have something. Everybody's got something.
Everybody's
They
gotta have
do.
something.
Yeah, it's just growing pains. I think everybody goes through it in one way or another. And it's funny because I'll look at other artists or other artists that are my friends, especially when I was on Jingle Ball with everybody.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
they'd be like having such a sweet time. And I'd be like, why do they have it like so good and so easy and I have it so tough? But then everybody actually has their own
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
And they all have their own thing. You've all got your thing that you kind of get pegged as that you got to deal with.
When you think back to growing up in Sydney and, live with your family, doing your own thing,
Yeah.
and dreaming of a rapper, right? That
Yeah.
was your dream.
It was my dream.
Did you know when you were that young that it would come with this many sacrifices? It would come with this many battles that you had to overcome? Because you're still overcoming them.
I am. I will forever be overcoming them, I think. I don't know if people will ever get used to the idea, but I did know that it would happen eventually for somebody,
Yeah.
and I really wanted to be that person. I wanted to be the person that was the first one to do it or to overcome it or to climb that mountain, and I didn't want to be the second or third, so I kind of rushed in and hoped that I would exist in a time where our generation would accept that idea of hip-hop being globalized or being crossover or being a mesh of other styles, and
Or
I'm
universal.
happy I'm here. Yeah, universal, exactly. I think it can be more things. I think rap can exist in different capacities other than just what it's
Yeah.
traditionally supposed to, and I don't really feel like that takes away from anything. I just think it adds another audience, a greater audience of people that might not necessarily feel rap is for them, but they might hear
Exactly.
something a little different and think, let me reconsider. Maybe I should research more artists, or maybe rap is more than the cliche of what I thought it was.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And I think that that's cool. I feel the same way about rock music or all the different alternative rock music or songs, or some are more pop and some are more heavy metal. And I think that that's a style of music that's been rooted in blues and has
Of
a lot
course.
longer and deeper of a history. And hip hop is kind of, I think, making its way into that evolution to where I hope that we see it have sub-styles, and I'd like to see that recognized at award shows instead of just having the
Agreed.
one hip-hop,
Yeah.
when it can mean so many different things. And then we start to have a controversy of, is this hip-hop or is this not? Is that a better record than, is Common a better record than
Right.
Iggy Azalea because one's commercial, one's
Exactly.
this? I don't think one is better than the other, and I think they're both equally hip-hop, but I think I would like to see it recognized more because it's a culture that it is universal
Yes.
now, and it is global, and it influences us commercially and in a mainstream way, and I really think that should be reflected. I don't think it's reflected at the moment.
When you look back at your journey so far, why was it hard for you to break into the rap game, and why do you feel like they don't show you the respect that you deserve?
Well,
And be honest.
they know deep down.
I think I know too, but I'd rather hear it from you.
I think they know. I think they know. They just don't want to admit it. That's what I think. I have a feeling. And I think that's why they're mad. Because
Yeah.
they do know that I actually am good.
You
You are.
And they can't really accept that.
Surprise.
I think they know. But we could be friends.
Yeah.
And this could all be easy. Or we could not. And I can send Bitcoin shit chocolate boxes to your door. It's up to you. But I'm still going to be here. So, yeah, I think they know. I think they know deep down.
Well, I mean, let's take a look at you and your journey right now from Sydney, Australia to this moment where an
Yeah.
album out, hit singles, had an amazing 2014.
I
dude.
did, I know. I just need to turn this 2015 around. I will, though. I've got the music video that I directed, like we said, for Trouble is going to come out next week. So I'm like super excited to get back into kind of gear with this single and like get going again. I absolutely love. I do all the creative direction for all the performances I do on live TV and Billboard Awards, all those things. I write the treatments for, so I absolutely love doing that as much as I love to write music. So I'm just really excited with Trouble to get to have this record that's so different from anything I've done before, and I think really lends itself well to like a live band and getting to have a musical director and
it's
kind
gonna
of
sound great.
like
It's gonna be awesome.
explore all those elements that I wouldn't necessarily be doing with songs like
You're
Fancy.
taking the
so.
genre on a journey.
Well, thank
Truly.
you. Well, I just, I love Mustard. I think he's an amazing producer, DJ Mustard, and I think so many of the hip hop records last year, including Fancy and even Beg for It that I did, sound really kind of in that vein. And when I would listen to the radio, it just all sound like this one kind of constant song, and that's not a bad thing.
No.
I'm singing along to it. I
Yeah.
like the
No,
song,
totally.
but I wanted a record that would set me completely apart from that could live in another world and be totally different. And so for me, that was Trouble. When I heard it, I just was like, I have to make this a rap song because it's awesome.
Is there pressure on you now after the success of Fancy and all of your singles this year? I mean, is there pressure to outperform what you've last done? Because you've set the bar high.
I know. It's hard when you like break a Beatles record and you're like, now do it twice.
Now once.
Now just do it one more time. It's hard. Yeah, it's a record for a reason. I mean, it hasn't been broken for many years.
A long time.
It's a tough bar to set for yourself. I think for me, I don't necessarily measure success in how many sales or singles you move. To me, I think it's about how you impacted culture. And for Fancy, I felt like I really did that regardless of the numbers. I saw yellow plaid in the front of every store window. And
Amazing.
to me, it was things like that I felt like, wow, I saw Clueless run on TV 5 billion times. And I don't know if that was to do with the fact that people had a re-inspired interest in it because of the music video. It could be. But I would notice things like that made me feel like this is impacting culture in some way, that kids are noticing this thing and rediscovering things.
Exactly.
And to me, that's what it's about. That's a sign of success, and I would love to be able to do that again, especially with Trouble, and maybe have kids rediscover some of the greats and this style of music or sound of instrumental that we don't really hear that much.
Take a second with me and let's talk about the next generation, because
Yes.
I look at the both of us and I think that we are the next generation. 21, 24,
Yep.
killing the game, I think.
Killing the game.
I mean, my studio's not, killing
You're
the game
killing
status,
though.
but
You're
it's
still
coming.
Killing the game.
You
You're
know,
bi-coastal.
Yeah.
You're killing the game.
the next generation is very important.
It is, yeah.
Right? And when you say you were to retire tomorrow and you were to just look back at your career, what do you think the biggest impact you made on a generation? Those kids that listen to you, those kids that follow you on Twitter, Instagram, how did you impact them?
I think I just opened their minds up to maybe feeling like they can be able to do whatever they want or not so much worry about whatever their stereotype is. I see so many kids will be like, I'm from Ireland, but I really wanted to whatever the hell, and I'm scared to do it. And it's like, just do it, man. Look at me. I'm doing it. Who cares? Just do it. Go out and do it. So I hope that I inspired that in people to see that maybe the unlikely person can still be an underdog, can still be a success. And the things that you think would just absolutely never be successful in a million years actually can. People can connect with them and identify with them. And I think people are much more strange and eclectic than you'd think. And I think I'm kind of evidence of that. Maybe we're not as like cliche as we think we all are. So I hope that we could see some other really interesting characters come out as a result of me being a weirdo and doing this.
How crazy is that? That you can, a little girl from Sydney, Australia can take a look back and say, you know what? I impacted a generation. I did that.
Yeah. It's pretty weird. It's even stranger when you lived it.
How often do you take a step back and you look at your life and you see how far you've come? And you think about where life was, a decade ago.
That is true. Not too often. I try not to think about it too often.
Really?
Yeah, I don't know. Australia just seems so far away to me. I don't think about it too much. I'll probably think about it when I go back next. That's when it kind of blows my mind a little bit, when I'm actually at home.
Do you miss home at all?
No, I've lived here for 8 years, so I kind of feel like this is my home.
This is it.
Yeah, when I go back, the last time I went back I was on tour with Beyonce, and I went back, that was 2013, and I hadn't been back for a few years, and I kind of realized that I don't really fit in there anymore. And I'll never fit in here. And I think a lot of immigrants will kind of or expats will understand what I'm saying here. You kind of, when you move to another country permanently, exist in this weird space where you're never really at home anywhere anymore. You're never really 100% anything. I'll never be all the way Australian. Australian people think I still talk a little funny or I do things a little weird. Why do I want to eat peanut butter and jelly? Why do I want cheese on my macaroni?
Delicious.
And it's a little strange, but then I come here and I'm so Australian.
Yeah.
And to the Australian people, I'm so American. And so you're never really, it's like you kind of almost lose your identity. But in doing that, for me at least, I found it incredibly freeing to just say, well, okay, I don't really belong anywhere, so therefore I can just do whatever I want and be whatever I want.
Create
and
the own place.
I can create whatever I want. I mean, my father said to me once, your home is just the dirt under your feet, and that's really all it is, and everything else is just for you to pay taxes. So that's how I look at it. And I think that's really cool, a cool way of looking at it. Like, I don't think you need to kind of worry too much about where you're from. Or if you identify with it, then it's good. That's good for you that you have something to identify with. And if you don't, then you don't. You're free to be whatever you want.
I kind of feel the same way that you feel because even though I spent most of my time in New York City, I never really identified with it.
Yeah, you never felt like a New Yorker?
No, kind of went to my own, the beat of my own drum.
Oh,
bagels are really good. Bagels are good.
Bagel?
There's some things you just can't get away from. I too love Vegemite. I just can't help myself.
Has there been a moment in your journey so far in your career that you kind of wish to go back to Australia, wish to go
back,
wish to be with your family, wish to kind of not have dived into any of this?
No, never
really?
a moment. Not one moment.
Wow.
Never.
Awesome.
Ever.
That's strength, man. That's
never ever. There are times when I want to punch people in their faces, but I never want to go home.
Obviously.
That's incredible strength, and I mean focus to all-time high.
Yeah, I mean, I love Australia. Don't get me wrong, I do. I love it, but I just think for me, America is so ridiculous. Actually, in a lot of ways, it is. It's extreme in every way. Extreme high, extreme low, extreme wealth, extreme poverty, extremely ridiculous, extravagant clothes and way of speech, and everything is just like a caricature of itself. And I love that. It's so inspirational as somebody who's a creator or a writer in any capacity, not just the hip hop world. I don't just have to live down south with rappers to feel inspired. Anything and everything I think is very interesting, and Australia is beautiful, but it's so beautiful that at times it's just mundane and just mind-numbingly beautiful. So I could not live there.
Well, let's talk about the next album. Have you started working on it?
I've started working on it a little.
Yeah?
A little.
How's it coming?
It's coming good. I was working on it only for about a week, but I got a lot done. I probably wrote 5 or 6 songs in a week.
That's
that
huge.
Not bad.
Yeah, some of them are all right. We'll see if I keep them. So I started on that in January, and then I kind of had a break for the Grammys, and then I started working on Trouble, and that, takes up a hell of a lot of time.
Course.
A lot of time, especially when you're directing something and writing the creative treatment for something. It's a lot that goes into it. You got to cast everyone. You have to design every room.
Yeah.
You have to approve a billion things. It's really a full-time job doing that.
It's amazing. When I walked onto my first TV set or any type of shoot, it's amazing to see how many people it takes to put it all together.
It takes a lot of people, a lot of trucks. There's a lot of moving pieces, and being a director is really difficult.
Yeah. You have to run everything.
Yeah, you do. You have to approve everything, and I've creative directed and written the treatments for all of my videos, but I've never officially directed. So this is my first time doing that, and I took on a lot more of the workload than what I usually do, which was really cool.
Yeah, that's awesome.
To get to do, and kind of gave me the confidence now. I'm taking a bigger role in directing my tour that I'm doing and the creative for all that, which is like a big arena show. But I'll still have I'm going to have a lot of help for that because that's a big show to do. But so I stopped working on my album because of that. And now I'm going to get back into I went to Dubai and I've been all over the place. I just got back. So I'm going to start working on it again. But that's why my album was very angry the week I did write on it. Because I was having such a bad 2015. So it's a very aggressive album so far, but I'm sure it will get a lot more happier and up-tempo as we go along. Yeah.
You look back and you're like, what was I going through?
It's really mad. There's like lots of screaming and like very like mean, dark songs.
Like goth heavy metal rap.
Yeah. It's very like thrasher type album right now.
Nice.
So I'm working on that.
I like
yeah. I had to quit social media. I was like, this album is just too aggressive. I have to stop.
Hold on. Let's talk about that because I love your tweet. I have your tweet here. You wrote, I feel the hatred and painness I see online at all times is at making me become an angry person. I cannot be that. The internet is the ugliest reflection of mankind there is, and I applaud you for that because it's true.
The truth.
Because it is true.
It is true. And, you know, when you're an entertainer, you have to love people. That's why you do it. You entertain people because you want people to have an escape from their life and you want them to feel happy. And that's what an entertainer lives for, just to see you have that look in your eye that you had such a good night and now you're going home, but you wish you could relive it. And that's what I'm here to do. That's what I love to do. And so I can't hate people and do that at the same time. It makes no sense. And I found myself kind of going online and just seeing stuff that would make me so frustrated, and not just things related to me as well. Just the way things are worded about other people, or the titles that I'll see in the sidebar about things that are so misleading and full of just like awful things about everybody that are really horrible. And it just makes me feel like, is this the way we are as a culture? Is this internet culture in its entirety what it is now? Because I think we're better than that, and I think people are better than that. And it seems to me that when I get off the internet, I really like people. People are cool and they're nice and awesome. I see them in the grocery store and they say hi and I say hi and it's all good. We have a laugh and I like people. And then I go online and I seem to hate people. And I cannot do that. I cannot be an entertainer that hates people. So I just have to get away from, I need to be around polite people in the real world that show their face, because you can't go to the grocery store with a mask on. So, it affects things greatly.
That's the thing. That's
Which
what
is
the
why
internet brings out
I
of
just
people.
feel like it's the worst reflection of mankind, because if this is what you choose to do in the dark with your time, write these things or say these things or be attracted to these things, I find it really just so disappointing. Like, is this what we are? I can't accept that is what we are choosing to have be entertainment or choosing to partake in. I can't do that.
I think it's sad to know that you go through it and so many other people go through the exact same thing.
They do. And you know what? I started to look and I was like, how does Beyonce deal with this? Because that's what everybody thinks, right? When they have a problem. They're like, what would Beyonce do?
WWBD.
Obviously. And I was like, you know what? I don't think she's actually online. I don't think she's seeing this. And I don't think a lot of them are. I don't think J-Lo is going on Twitter. I feel like she's not. I text her. I don't think she is. So I think, maybe those older people come from a generation where it's not so social media focused that our generation is, and it's easier for them to disconnect, whereas maybe we're kind of trained to be consumers of these products that we can't stop. And there's nothing wrong with going on social media every day, by the way, as long as you don't have a negative experience. But if you come away from it every time feeling like you're having a negative experience, then I think you should stop. And I think sometimes in our generation we forget that you can actually turn it off.
Yeah, I was going to ask you that. Like, is that your advice for
you
girls listening?
You can actually turn it off.
Take a minute.
You can, and I think it can be really awful. You know, I think I still feel good about myself or my image, but I think it's been beat up a hell of a lot via the internet. Or there are things that I would look at myself, or even sometimes my own body, that I didn't see before, that I never had an issue with, that I'd start being like, do I need a nose job? No, I don't need a nose job.
Your
I
nose
don't.
is great.
My nose is completely perfectly fine. But You start to get these
Yeah.
thoughts in your head because other people are putting them in your head. And I think that's a negative thing to walk away with. If you're walking away with things, if you're online as a regular person or any person, and you start to have these awful conversations with yourself as a result of partaking in the internet, you can turn it off and feel completely fucking great about yourself. And that's what you should do. And that's what I'm doing. I had a great vacation in Hawaii.
Yeah.
I had an awesome time. I came home. I put the internet on and I was like, oh, I have cellulite. And it's apparently very unacceptable. Everyone I know has cellulite.
Science.
What the hell?
Literally science. You should look at me in any form of a bathing suit.
And that's when I kind of was like, you know what? I think enough is enough. I think that I like myself. I feel really confident, and I think I make other women feel confident, and I always try to write songs. I think when I'm braggadocious, it's not even me trying to say I'm the best. I'm writing it because I want you to be able to sing it and feel like you're the best, and that's what I'm doing it to say, and I really have to believe that, and I cannot be in an environment that's like battering my self-esteem, because then I won't have anything to help you with yours, so you just have to stop.
What I find sad is that the internet and all those tabloids and all those outlets, they've kind of come in the way between you and your message, because you are inspiring. Everything that you've accomplished, what you continue to do is inspiring. It's a game changer. You are changing the game every day that you live on to make music.
Yeah.
Seriously.
Thanks.
Amazing. It kind of sucks that they're coming in the way of that.
Yeah, well, kind of, but not really. I think the internet is one way to get a message across, and it's a really good way, especially when you don't have a lot of other outlets. But I think at this point now, I have a voice, just like I'm using it now with you, that I can communicate and get my point across in a way that's not necessarily misconstrued.
Yeah.
And when you're saying things on Twitter and they're being, used for shock titles or purposely ignoring half of what you said, I think that that's more detrimental. And I want to make sure that my message or my thoughts are being properly broadcast and conveyed. So I think if that means silencing one of those outlets to let another one flow freely, then that is a good sacrifice to make.
What does society need to do to get Iggy Azalea to turn social media on again?
I do not think I will ever do that again.
Nice.
I feel like if there's something I need to say, I can say it through my management, or I can say it publicly, or I can say it at a show.
You can come here.
The problem is not necessarily going on and seeing comments, or I don't Google myself, but sometimes, and it's just looking at your fans. I like to look at my fans a lot, and I like to go to their pages, and I want to see what they thought about my song, if they liked it, what they didn't like, so that I can focus on what they liked and make that even better for the next time. And what fans also do, which I appreciate, is defend you.
Yeah.
So sometimes you won't even be aware of something that's been said most of the time, and you'll be on somebody's page that actually loves you, doesn't even hate you, and is like, why are they saying about my Iggy? And I'll be like, wait, they're saying what about me?
Wow.
Now I'm Googling it. Now I'm looking at it. Now I'm mad about it. Now I'm responding because I feel personally like I wanted defend myself. It's human nature, and it's a cycle, so I just can't be a part of that cycle. And I think me being somebody who I have had media training and all those things, but I don't want to be that like emotionally void artist that just is like so I want to still remain passionate and emotional and say what I want to say, but I don't think that it is good to be necessarily having those like knee-jerk reactions that I, as somebody born in June and a Gemini, just cannot help. So I can't do it. I cannot do it.
All right, I am getting the wrap-up sign.
You are getting the wrap-up sign.
But I can literally talk to you, Iggy, forever and ever.
Well, thank you.
Because I appreciate what you're doing for music.
No, thank you so much.
I seriously, and I appreciate what you're doing for a generation, inspiring the next generation.
For ladies, what you're doing for the women.
Yeah,
amazing.
For the women.
Yeah,
it's funny
get it, girl.
because I really do think that we are going to have so many more Iggy Azaleas, and that's so awesome to me.
Yeah.
And that's not even necessarily blonde chicks rapping. It's just, I just mean people that are out the box.
Yeah.
wild card artists, and I just really want to like blaze a trail for those people so they don't have to endure so much of the stuff that I'm enduring now and will continue to endure. But if it means that we get to have more of those people, and if it means that we get to have labels take risks and invest money in the unlikely candidate to be a successor like I was, if that's what I can at least achieve by me having success, then I think that's awesome.
Yeah.
Really
Truly,
awesome.
truly inspiring. And beautiful, Iggy Azalea.
Thank you.
Trouble, the new single with Jennifer Hudson.
Yeah.
Second album coming soon. What can we expect real quick?
For my second album, well, at the moment, as I said, I just started, but one thing that I'm really trying to focus on is writing songs that don't necessarily have features as hooks. That's kind of going to be my second afterthought. I really want to try to have some songs that don't rely so heavily necessarily on melody or other singers, and I really want to try to do that just for me. And one of my goals, I want a hit that's just
Iggy.
me. But there are some other hits that are not just me that are coming soon. I've got my song with Britney that she's got coming out that I personally feel is a very massive hit.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, so, you know, I love collaborations. I love working with people. So I'm definitely still doing collaborations. But for now on the album, what I'm just really trying to work on is having something that's so solid with just me. Because I really want to see rap on top 40 radio and on mainstream radio that doesn't necessarily have to rely on a hook to be crossover, and that's a hard thing to find a balance of. How do you make something crossover but not rely on melody? And so I'd like to try to kind of like crack that nut. That's what I'm on at the moment.
And you're doing it.
I will certainly try.
Iggy Azalea, thank you so much for coming by.
Thank you. No, thanks for having me.
It was really great talking to you.
Yeah, you too.
Thank you.